Welcome back, Storm fans. It is Bryant Cook, and today I am playing Gift Storm, a deck that I admittedly do not like anymore. And that's why I've been sitting on this deck list for the better part of a month and a half, maybe even 2 months at this point. Shoutouts to Discord member P, who is a part of our Storm community, and they had the idea of playing Silence in Gift Storm to potentially fix some of the problems that I have with the deck. I initially tried it shortly after they posted the deck list, and well, that league didn't go very well. I've given it some time. I still think that this could potentially work. I'm going to try it again tonight. So the idea is, well, actually, let's rewind. Let's go back in time. What are the problems with Gift Storm, right? Well, I think it started with Force of Negation. And Force of Negation was a problem because normally with Gift Storm, Remand is your protection spell. And with Force of Negation, they just exile another blue card and cast that for free, making your Remand look really silly. And normally, I say this in videos, and then people say, what about remanding your own Grave Shot? No. Just no. That is not a relevant play. That is not the reason you play Remand. And by the time that you can do that, you've given the opponent so much time that you're losing to Teferi, which all the blue decks play anyway. So I just don't think that it's a realistic play in 2021. It's super slow. It requires a bunch of Storm and mana up front, and you just lose to their Force of Negations in the meantime anyway. So, like, it's not a good play, but people are still living in 2017. So, Remand just stinks at countering Force of Negation. The second thing is, Endurance was printed, and Endurance just crushes Past in Flames, right? Like, wow, you don't want to be living in that world. And if, once again, if you're Remand it, they just pitch another green card and cast it again. So Remand, you're getting the idea here, right? Like, it's just not a good Magic card in 2021. And then the third thing is the removal in Modern has gotten so much better over the last few years. And that's part of the reason why I think that Gift Storm is honestly just like not a very good deck anymore. Back when Gift Storm was at its peak, there was Lightning Bolt and Path, and that was pretty much all of the removal that was playable in the format. That was actually like good. And then since then, Prismatic Ending and a bunch of other cards, Fatal Pushes, have been printed, and it's become a lot easier to kill our enablers on curve. Well, Gift Storm has always lacked a good way of combating that because you could play Remand, but then you have to wait till turn 3, and if it's Lightning Bolt or Path, your opponent just untaps and casts that spell again anyway. So Remand has never been really good for protecting your creatures, except from like Liliana of the Veil, which nobody plays anymore. So Remand has fallen out of favor. It doesn't do what you want it to do. Why are we still playing it? And I've mentioned it in my previous Gifts videos that are probably a few months old at this point, and how I don't like playing that card, but I continue to do so because the Gift Storm Cabal decides that it's great when they're in the 05 bracket. So P came up with this idea of running Silence, and honestly I think it's quite brilliant. We're doing something similar in the Epic Storm and Legacy, where Silence stops Force of Negation, and by stops I mean it doesn't put it back to their hand. So if you silence them, they have to either counter it immediately or just lose the game. Stops Endurance, so that way you can cast it pre-Gifts and Given, and then they can't Endurance away your graveyard. And you can cast it to start off a turn, play your Enabler, and then play your Desperate Ritual and a Metamorphose and win the game. So it stops all of that really good instant speed removal. So Silence actually fixes a lot of the potential problems with this deck. That sounds pretty good, right? It even stops something like Surgical Extraction. Well, why wasn't this played before? Right? Like, that's a legitimate question. Silence has been legal since 2010. And the main reason why is it forces you to play an off-color protection spell on the combo turn, which slows you down. That is the downside. That said, Gifts and Given combo has next to nothing going for it anymore, so you might as well try something different. And that's why I'm playing it here today. It's gotten Wish recently, which is a pretty good upgrade. You don't have to run the Repeal or the Empty in the main deck anymore, and that's really good. It's gotten Consider to play well with Past in Flames, and I like that. So it's gotten a few small upgrades, but nothing major. The core of the deck is still the same, and honestly, I think the core of the deck is kind of the issue, which is why I've been such a big fan of Lotus Breach. That said, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that we crush today with this deck list. That said, Silence isn't the only white card that this deck has gotten recently. Prismatic Ending. I am splashing for this card in Legacy. In fact, we're splashing for the same 2 effects in this format that I am in Legacy, so they're very, very powerful. Prismatic Ending, possibly one of the best removal spells ever printed, And Prismatic Ending gives you a versatile removal spell for things like Grafdigger's Cage, Eidolon of the Great Revel, Damping Sphere, a bunch of different things. So it just cleanly removes all of it. And it does it pretty well. When I've been boarding, I end up just boarding like Prismatic Endings and Galvanic Relays, which is another new tool this deck got. And I find that I don't want to be boarding in Echoing Truth, a Braid, Bolt, Flame Slash. Like, all I really want is ending. The problem with that is you can't gifts for 4 endings or 3 endings. So maybe the sideboard isn't perfect. I'll admit that before I start playing, but at least we're on the right path of potentially fixing everything that is wrong with Gift Storm. And I'm not saying this to be mean to people that like Gift Storm. I love Gift Storm. I have it Japanese foil signed. I'm a big fan of the deck in 2018. And then the core of the deck hasn't really shifted much. It's gotten some role players. So I considered, well, I didn't mean for that to happen. I just did. Consider to be a role player. Wish is a role player. Galvanic Relay is a pretty big upgrade in my opinion. That card is considerably better than Pieces of the Puzzle. That time was intentional. And then Prismatic Ending is just a really good removal spell. So the reason that Gifts hasn't come back is that the core is stinky. Relying on creatures is really, really difficult. It's just the best decks in the format are really good at removing creatures. Ragavan's everywhere. So when there's a threat as good as Ragavan, people are out to murder it. That's not good for Brawl and Company. And then being a graveyard-based combo deck that is slow just hasn't aged well. Same thing happened in Legacy with Ad Nauseam Tendrils. So hopefully Silence does something to fix this. I am running 4 today just to make sure that we draw it. You could run 3 and then run an extra opt, but I think you just really, really need Silence. You can also silence on your opponent's upkeep to essentially time lock them in this format. And there's no Wasteland, so you're not getting punished by that, and I like that quite a bit. Yeah, that's enough of me blabbering. Why don't I just chill for a second, and then let's hop on into the league. So if you want to support this content, like, comment, subscribe. You know, let me know if you like watching Gift Storm. In fact, I know that you do. Gift Storm is always one of the most watched decks on this channel, despite me not liking it very much anymore. So leave a comment. Let me know if you like the Gifts content, if you would prefer another deck, etc. Maybe you hate that I keep on trashing Gift Storm. Let me know. I'm probably not going to care, but at least you're getting me into that YouTube algorithm. Am I right? And then our memberships. The join button is right next to that subscribe button, which if you haven't clicked on, you should definitely do. With that join button, gives you all of our membership information where you unlock badges and emotes. The member section of our Discord, super secret stuff happening in there. And then on top of that, there's 50% off donation decks, sideboard guides, completely full free donation decks. Definitely check out the member section. Or if you want to support us in any other way, you can go to theepicroom.com/donation decks to submit your combo deck to be featured here on this very YouTube channel. You can pick up card singles over at theepicroom.com/shop, as well as sweet, sweet store merchandise, including our brand new mini token pack, where we've got your mana needs covered. All right, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to start playing Gift Storm. I've made this intro long enough. I'll see you in match number 1. I know you're not going anywhere because you want to see Silence in action, and I love casting it. So, see you in match number 1. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the draw against bobykill. We've opened up a hand that could potentially be a turn 3 win. I really need to hit a second land off either our draw step or this Serum Visions in order to make that happen. I think we're probably supposed to keep this. Obviously, it could bite us in the butt. I hope it doesn't, but let's see what we can do here. Our opponent's taking a mulligan. Verdant Catacombs. That is usually a land that's pretty good at killing Brawl. Okay, so black-green Yawgmoth, or whatever it's called. Consider this. Well, it's still not correct to cast Consider here, I'm sorry. Serum Visions digs the deepest, and we're just looking for a land. So, alright, these have to go on the bottom. We just need lands. So when you're casting your cantrips, you usually want to cast them by the order that would see the most cards, especially when you're looking for something specific. And that's come up a little bit recently with our Lotus Field combo deck, where people are wondering why we're choosing to play Serum Visions over Sleight of Hand. You get to look at 3 cards instead of 2. And that's still relevant here, where we're just looking for any land drop. Twilight Mire from the opponent. What are you following it up with? Stranglegroot Geist. That card defeated me a lot in Standard back in 2011, 2012. Land? Hey! Alright, well, if I remember correctly, this deck doesn't play main deck removal. We have that going on for us. jam Brawl here. You might be thinking, well, Bryant, why don't you wait a turn, and then next turn you can play Brawl, potentially draw the land you need, and then go Ritual win. That doesn't work. You need both blue and red mana next turn. So if you want to do that, you end up being short on colors of mana. So not really an optimal play unless you were to draw both Manamorphose and a land. Potentially you could go land, ritual, brawl. Nope, you don't end up with blue that way either. So it just doesn't work. You have to play brawl and hope that your creature lives. Welcome to playing this deck. It happens a lot. I'm actually playing an 18th land today. A lot of lists run 17 with 12 cantrips. I chose to run 18 with 10 cantrips. It was tough to find room for everything that I wanted to include, and that extra slot ended up being the 4th copy of Silence, which I think is pretty critical for this deck working. So you might be thinking, well, like, what about consistency? Yes, that is a thing. That said, our deck stinks, and we really need Silence in order to make it work. So you have to make some concessions somewhere. All right, well, our Brawl is living, which means that our opponent is doing the dying. And not undying, but inch. Okay, and there's Silence right on cue when we don't need it. Okay, gifts and given. No main deck endurance, okay? Heretic Ritual. Manamorphose. Desperate Ritual. I think we're supposed to get another Cast in Flames. Okay, so Gifts and Given is on the stack. Let's see what our opponent allows us to have here. I'm going to pop out the graveyard a little bit. I find it easier to cast spells out of the graveyard when it's not shifting back and forth. Okay. Let's cast this Manamorphose. Blue. I guess I could do white. We drew a land. Okay. I guess I can silence them. They've been silenced. So now they can't endurance me. Cast Past Influence. Tap this for red. It's been so long since I played this deck, but it's like riding a bike in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm probably going to misplay at some point this video, so feel free to clip that and make fun of me later. But a lot of it's just so familiar. So Storm's 11, they're at 19. I can wish for Grape Shot and flash back Past in Flames. Easy peasy. And our opponent has conceded the game. We've gotten game number 1 over the black-green Yawgmoth Sacrifice deck. Alright, well, Prismatic Ending tends to be pretty good against permanents that want to come back from the dead, so we'll board that in. Is really good. It's pretty good at beating Graveyard Hate, so let's board in 2 Relay and board out 1 Gifts. The nice part about boarding out Gifts is that it actually just becomes a wish target, so it's pretty free to do that. We're going to leave Wear Terror, I believe. And then we can probably board out 1 Silence. We're not going to need all 4 of them in this matchup. While our opponent could have removal and endurance, 4 is a lot for this specific type of matchup. We can get by with less. I think we could probably shave the ops. And then like maybe a creature. This is what I was talking about previously, where we have this Lightning Bolt, the Flame Slash, the Abrade, the Echoing Truth, but all you really want is Prismatic Ending. I guess I can probably switch it up and board in 1 other thing. Maybe I'll board in the Echoing Truth. But Ending is so much better than all of these other cards where I question running some of them. Like, maybe the correct thing to do is just run 4 Endings and remove all this crap for other wish targets. I don't know. But I'm not sold on needing these cute cards anymore. It's just, I understand that you can gift for 4 cards, but Ending is just the best thing that you can be doing, so you should probably just be doing it. In theory, you could also just board out Wish, and then board in these, and that speeds you up, but then you lose to something on Grape Shot. And I don't really love that, so. Alright, enough of me blabbering. Let's submit this deck and go to game number 2. Perfect hand. Part of me wants to keep this. I know that's crazy. It's definitely crazy that I want to keep this, but I do. Lands and spells, what could go wrong, right? Let's do it. F6. It tends to be actually fairly good against this card as well. Am I supposed to bolt the bird? I feel like I am. Bolt the bird. Okay. What do you have here, opponent? Wall of Roots. Okay. They just have tons of birds. And I need to play out the Spire Bluff. Otherwise, these just come into play tapped, and there's no difference later on. Alright, now they have 4 mana. If they have Yawgmoth, they can play it. Another bird. Bop. Blood Artist. Okay, that's kind of spicy. 1 card left in our opponent's hand. So, Brawl actually gives us the potential for a win here. My concern with that is if they have a removal spell. And whatever they sitting on in their hand that they wouldn't have cast last turn, right? So, I wonder if I have a win here. So that becomes 6 mana down to 4 mana. I can get Past in Flames. I do get 2 draws off Manamorphose. Gifts and Given is a little bit short, I think. Alright, let's just pass. Might be Endurance and not a removal spell. What do you have, opponent? Double green? Another Wall of Roots? Sure. What is this last card? Protocoling? Evolution. Okay. Am I dead? I don't know. So now they get Yawgmoth. They can kill their birds. Okay, so they kill these. I'm just gonna F6. They're gonna get to draw a bunch of cards here. So I guess it was the evolution in their hand last turn. Or maybe they had the extra Wall of Roots and they ripped the evolution. Okay. Then if they sack the artist, Baral's dead. Okay, they just paid for Proliferate. Sure. Okay. So I can splice Desperate Ritual here. We might actually have a win. Admittedly, Past Flames was a pretty good draw. Storm, they're at 22. That's actually a little bit of wishful thinking. But let's Morphos and see if I can get lucky. Drawn to a bear. Speaking of getting lucky. Play Wish. Past in Flames. And the reason I'm not casting anything here is I have Pact of Negation backup at the moment. And our opponent has conceded the game. Gift Storm too powerful. The best deck in 2021. I called it in the beginning. I said it was untouchable. And now we've got our first game win. Match win. Words. I'm lying. I'm glad we got our first match win. But hopefully the rest of them go as well as this one where our opponent's deck doesn't have removal in it. I doubt that. But we'll see. Stick around for match number 2. We won the die roll. How lucky. And we are on the play for match number 2. Our opponent's about to reveal their modern companion, Yorion, which should mean Death and Taxes. We're going to keep this. Death and Taxes is admittedly pretty much the only matchup where running fetch lands is worse, in my opinion. I made a video about fetch lands versus, the fetchless builds, and about why fetch lands are mathematically better. One of the exceptions to that is exactly this deck, where your opponents play, what is it called? Yonin Arbiter. I mean, ooh, so it's not that deck. So it's not Death and Taxes. But still, Arbiter's like pretty much the exception. Sure. No. Otherwise, fetchlands are superior in pretty much every way. In fact, I'll link it in the card above. Go watch that video if you're a fetchless person. It's quite informative and speaks the truth. Electromancer. That Electromancer represents 2 damage. 2 less storm I need. Is it green-white hate bears? It is. Okay. Come on, deck, be good. Burl. You have to pass. Yeah, it's definitely hate bears. Black is interesting. What's with all this removal? Why are you like that? Let's cast Certain Visions. I think we want this. Playing Pillar Parents and Prismatic Ending, I guess you just want to play all the best cards, but it's a little bit strange to me. The Fairy, okay. This deck is like, is this a normal thing? It doesn't look normal to me. Being around, sure. I'm just gonna have 6 the rest of this turn. And now we have a window to potentially try to win the game. If they have like a main deck or endurance or something, you could get us. But I'm not gonna play around that. Okay. Burl. And now it's Ritual. We're not going to cast the other Ritual yet because we want to know if we're going to Fizzle or not. So let's add blue. I want to thin the deck before I scry, so let's do that. Now let's cast Serum Visions. And that should be game. Ooh. I think I can consider away the Past in Flames. And then draw a random card. Do I have enough mana? So 3, 5, 6, 7. So that would bring me down to 6. Flashback. Hey, that should work. Okay. So we cast this. We can put that to the graveyard. Flashback with 1 floating. Or 1 open, I should say. And I hit the Grape Shot, so yeah. Assuming our opponent isn't sitting on Endurance, they're dead. I guess they could have Force of Negation. Probably shouldn't have said that word out loud, right? Just like bad mojo. And we got the game win. Deck's unstoppable. Alright, so like 5 color Teferi nonsense. We probably want some number of silence still. Probably want some endings. I'm just going to side somewhat similarly to how I did last match. Relay is really good. Brought out a gifts. Do it. Yeah, I don't like how this sideboard is built. That's the one regret I have coming into this video, is I haven't played Gift Storm in so long, and I haven't had the time to properly map it out. But if I could rewind, even though we're already like only a match and a half in, I don't think I want all these extra removal spells. They feel wasteful to me. Like, you probably need Flame Slash. Like, you have to be able to kill Eidolon of Rhetoric. So, like, you probably have to keep that. But maybe these should just be, like, 2 Dismember. These 3 slots should just be 2 Dismember, and you keep Dismember for those matchups. And I like Dismember for Rhetoric decks, but also things like Infect, because you can cast Dismember free off bears. So you can tap out on turn 2 and have removal up. So you could also use it against like Hammer Time where they try to kill you. Yeah, I think Dismember actually makes some sense there. We'll try this. Yorion. Windswept Heath. Sprawl. Another gifts, okay. Turn 2 to Fairy. Pretty good. So we cannot end step gifts and given. We'll have to main phase this. Let's go get a fetch land out of our deck. Another relay. Not really what we needed here, if I'm being sure. Sure, you got it. I don't even know what you would take from this hand. It's probably a Ritual. Like, Ritual might actually just be the best card in this hand. For what it's worth, when I made the fetch land versus fetch list video, at the time I wasn't considering Relay in Modern Gift Storm. Relay is another reason, much like Pieces of the Puzzle that I did mention in that video, where you want to thin your deck of lands so that way your relays and your pieces end up being better. That's true with Relay. You want to remove lands from the deck so that way you see better cards off of Relay. Thinning is just like a very real thing that the Modern Gift Storm community pretends isn't. But if you watch that video, in the comment section, a mathematician named Daniel Lee, who's also a level 3 judge, breaks down the math and shows you how much thinning actually matters, especially when it's compounded. So it makes sense. We're drawing all the clunky aspects of this deck right now. We're probably just going to get wrecked by Kaya's Guile or like Endurance here. Gifts and Given. If they're smart, they'll put Past in Flames to my hand, and I don't want that trash. I wonder if like I should get a bear instead. Oh, it's probably right to just. If they're smart, they'll put Manamorphose Past in Flames to my hand. Also, I made a play mistake. I was talking and I didn't realize it. I was supposed to fetch the Hallowed Fountain. I wasn't supposed to get the second Steam Vents. Another Abundant Growth, okay. I wonder if this is just like a Niv Delight deck. Birds, okay. Okay, I'm more convinced that this is like some bad Niv Delight deck. Alright, I'm thinking I might just Morphos Relay here, just trying to hit lands and spells that are good. Alright, let's just Relay for 2. It's sad, but I would take a land and something else here. Cantrips, sure. Alright, Fairy is dead. Silence is back online. We don't have the mana to do anything, but Silence is back online. That is a strange card. Okay. Then they actually got basic planes. This planes are a forest card, so they can get dual lands with it. 4 mana. 3 mana floating. That was another Teferi. Okay. That would make sense why they were willing to get rid of the first one. Right, 4 mana now. Their Thought Erasure, sure. I'm convinced that this is Niv Delight, by the way. Probably taking the bear if I had to guess. Or if they're sitting on like Endurance, they can take the Silence. There's Gifts and Gifts. That's a weird pick to me. Okay. Let's start on Consider. I would like that. Visions. Okay, so I think I don't want to use the Silence this turn. I want to use it next turn. And the reason why is I need this land in play. But if we think about how this is going to break down, next turn I can play Silence, play Brawl Ritual, but I'm a mana short. Where if I have this land into play next turn, I can untap Silence into the win. This Bring to Light? I believe Bring to Light says cast after, so I can silence them in response to light. Okay, it's just Niv Mizzet. Sure. Now they have the Erasure. Got it. So I could have silenced them in response to Niv. I chose not to. I was willing to bet that in their 80 card deck they didn't hit a multicolored discard spell. I was wrong. But I still think we're supposed to maintain the plan. It just depends on what they take here. I'd love if they took either of these cards. So they took Thought Erasure, Kaya, Renin 6 to Fairy and Lightning Helix. Take the Ritual. Okay. A little odd. So I can play Wish here into a cantrip. I don't know how much I like that, but it's something I can do. I feel like I'm supposed to silence them. But I'm in a spot where I have to draw a Ritual next turn. Or I can, if I draw a land, I can try to go off without a creature. That's another option. Why don't I just relay for 1? The reveal was a Brawl? Okay. So in their upkeep, let's cast Silence. F6. So they can Helix me here. And then they can attack. But that's pretty much it. Come on, deck. Be good to me. They can put Yorion to hand. That is something they're allowed to do. Real tough trying to figure out how to put this Yorion to their hand. Okay. Come on, deck. Ritual or land? At 3. Do you have another burn spell? They drew a Helix return. Ah. That'll do. It's a bummer. Let's see what the draw would have been. Okay, we wouldn't have gotten it anyway. It's fine. I'm just gonna read. Let's go. Alright, they reviewed the Yorion. This hand's fine. We'll keep this. I don't know how I feel about burning our entire hand to relay on turn 2, but it's technically an option. Okay. SD. Let's go get our white source. Draw. The problem is, like, even if we relay for a bunch, we wouldn't be able to cast all those spells next turn because we don't have the mana in play. I think I'm supposed to pass here. And the opponent is passing as well. Another ritual. Alright, let's... I've never done this before, let's just do it. Alright, Pyretic Ritual. Let's splice the Desperate. I'm going to end up keeping one Desperate Ritual in hand, I think. Blue and... Let's do white. I feel like I'm willing to burn this Silence. Gifts and Given. So we have 6, 7. Gifts into Relay is an option here. Okay. So Gifts and Given gets countered. Now we have Galvanic Relay for 8. I don't know how good this is actually going to be in Modern. That looked fine, actually. There's like a brand new hand. Next turn we can play a creature into all that stuff. It'd be better if we had another land, though. Alright, the Manamorphose is actually a decent draw. Ties Guile. Yep. Saw that coming. Okay, so we can start on a Ritual here, and then Manamorphose. Get Brawl in play. Okay. And then Ritual. Morphos, let's make blue. That wasn't good. I think we're supposed to cast this. You're bad. I think we just played the second bear. Not a completely wasted effort. We did trade 6 cards for that. So not the world's best exchange in my opinion. We are in a spot where if we draw Past in Flames, you could potentially do some damage. The Fairy. Okay, so they can bounce a creature here. Draw. Let's attack the Teferi. We're going to block with their Spirit, most likely. Cool. Let's cast Consider. Yeah, I don't really want to Swarm Visions. So, by playing the fetch land instead of the canal, I can play both the Electromancer and the Consider this turn, which means more to me than playing this tapped and only getting 1. Do you have a Fatal? No, you don't have a Fatal Push. What am I talking about? I'm just gonna take 2 and Consider. Yes, I'd like to put that to the graveyard. So next turn, this Wish will cost 1 mana, and then we have another red source for Past in Flames. So we have Past in Flames, but we need an untapped red source. We're pretty close to a win here. So a Ritual off the top would do it. A Manamorphose would do it. A fetch land would do it, actually. Depends on what the opponent does here, obviously. So Helix changes that. So it is ending. And the Teferi's on 2. Can we just remove the Teferi? I mean, I don't actually care that much about Teferi. Also, part of me wonders if I should just, like, play Wish and Opt. Because, like, I'm pretty far away from Wish, Past in Flames win. Opt. Let's keep it. Alright, so Teferi will go up to 3 this turn. I don't even know what this does. So it comes into play with 6 counters on it, but if you escaped it, it's 12. Remove counters to prevent damage. Fights a creature. Okay, so it's just a big dumb beater. Draw. And they have the draw step Thought Erasure. Classic. Okay, so we're probably getting our visions removed here. And we don't have 4 colors to remove this. So we might have to ending the Teferi this turn. Okay, let's get rid of the Tef to stop them from drawing an extra card. Is it worth grape shotting them for 2? Well, if I draw Past in Flames, 2 less Storm is actually fairly relevant. And I don't know what else this grape shot's going to kill, so let's do it. And it gets their Storm, so it was 1 more damage than I thought. It's actually 3. Yorion, okay. So we only have 1 more draw step after this one, assuming that they don't have, you know, the card that I don't want to say out loud. This fights a creature, so I don't really want to play this out. Need to draw Past in Flames. You got it. Wild Growth, sure. So 2 cards in hand, one of which is Yorion. Come on, Past in Flames off the top rope. 2 copies in the deck, 26 cards. Not that unlikely, right? Boo. Alright, we got. We are now 1-1. Womp womp. Match number 3, and once again we are on the play. Lands and spells, I guess we'll try it. Okay. We get our basic island and cast our visions. And vision. I don't hate it. We can play towards a slower game without a bear if we need to. Okay. Old Ragavan. How do you like grape shots? Ugh. The best removal spell for Ragavan in the format, apparently. Hall of Storm Giants. You know, a little disappointed this is nothing Storm-like. Just an atrocity. Okay, let's play Visions. Well, talk about perfects. Hopefully your opponent is a dummy and taps out for something I don't care about. Speaking of which, I would like to keep this, and now you're dead. D-E-D, dead. I know how words work. I guess one benefit of Gift Storm is it doesn't just fold to a Blood Moon. That is a technical truth that I am willing to admit here. That said, if your opponent's a dummy and just taps out, I don't know. I'm sure our opponent is actually very smart. I'm just joking. Okay. That's fine. Our opponent's conceded the game. Too strong. Played perfect, got rewarded, obviously. Okay. Probably want the endings again. Just boarding the same cards every match. What could go wrong? Seems perfect to me. I can't help but wonder if we want to board in the removal spells. Probably not. I'm just a little worried about these not being good against the Blood Moon deck. Let's try it out. If the same thing that could happen in game number 1 and game number 2, I'd be very happy. Just a nice quick win where I don't have to try it all would be delightful. Okay, game number 2. Opening both endings is a little bit awkward, but we're going to keep. Okay. Do you have the turn 1 rags? They do. So the nice part about Modern is there's no days to protect the effing Ragavan. Can't deny that. Ugh. Get dead. Hopefully we draw a land for turn 2. Relic, sure. Land? Okay. I mean, at least there's a land on top, right? They're choosing to get a non-basic, so I'm less worried about Blood Moon here, I think. They have 3 cards. Play out the Electroman. I'm expecting this Electromancer to die. And here's a Bolt. Yep. So now they have 3 cards once again. Sure. And another rag. Let's consider. I would like that. So now the question is, what do I do here? I can play out Baral as a blocker for the Ragavan, but if they have removal, they're gonna spiral. I could just ending the Relic, but then I get hit by Ragavan. I think what I'm going to do here is just play out Baral. A little bit risky, but it puts me in a position where I could potentially win next turn, even through the Relic. Counterspell. Yeah, that's about okay. The Ragavan's going to do some damage here. And they hit a cantrip. How lucky. Luck, luck, luck. I'm joking. Your deck's full of cantrips. One on top, one on the bottom. 3 cards in hand. Expressive Iteration. Okay, so they do still have 2 mana up. Need to remove this Relic, especially now that we have the Past in Flames. Yep. Okay, now we just have to pass. Ragavan's so powerful. Island, okay. They're just going to pass with 5 cards in hand, yikes. Let's throw out a Silence and see if this resolves. Sure. Alright, so we can come back next turn with this other Silence. Alright, Ragavan getting in. We're going to 11. Life total getting a little bit low. Scalding Tarn. They have all the mana in the world over there, too. Alright, another Silence. I'm going to pass. So I realized that I could keep on trying to go here. But the difference between 4 mana and 6 mana doesn't exist to me. They had another Archmage's Charm. Yikes. Maybe I just want to start cycling these Morphos. Relay. It's pretty good for them. It would honestly be good for me if they just tapped out to Relay for a bunch. That could give me an opportunity to win. They wisely chose not to cast it. 5 cards. What's Morphos? I wonder if I should be boarding an Empty. Like, is Empty a better card to have in my deck than Grape Shot? I don't know. That'd be 6 mana. Problem is I don't think that this is going to resolve. Okay. What's Morphos again? So I think by playing Morphos here, you're misleading the opponent into thinking that you're still going to do something this turn. So if they have another counter spell, they might counter this. And that's why they're paused so long on this mana Morphos. Alright, so that puts me to 4 next turn. A lot of counter magic out of this deck. Sure. Yeah, I can't help but think that Empty might be good, a good card to board in here. We're going to 4 life. Ooh. Chose not to play Wish. They must have it all locked up. Alright, Desperate Ritual I spliced onto it. Okay. All the counterspells in the world weren't going to beat that. So maybe Empty over Grape Shot? In theory, could try another relay. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's maybe we do that instead of Wish. Leave Wish is a... Be quiet, phone. Come on, try and talk here. But Leave Wish is a card so I don't lose to Ragavan. Let's try this out. We're on the play. Sure. And I'm just going to consider now to avoid Mystical Dispute. I think I want the Morphos. And turn one Ragavan. We're just going to remove the Rags. I could try to play Brawl here, but if it just gets bolted, I look like an idiot. Alright, get out of here, Ragavan. Relic, okay. Brand gone. Did you keep a one-land Relic? Okay, you have a second land. Brawl. Morphos, and this just allows me to play the Electromancer this turn too. Okay. Part of the reason that our opponent was able to crush us last game is they had this real big mana advantage, and we're trying to break that up by playing out two bears. Because right now their mana is tied up between holding up Relic and potentially counter spells and removal. Okay. Another Relic, you got it. Sure. Okay. I don't love the canal draw. So what I think I'm going to do is unstep Gifts and Given on their turn. Try to tie up their mana a little bit. Sure. Okay, so now let's cast Gifts and Given, target them. I cannot pay for Mystical Dispute. You've got my gifts. Come on, deck, be good. Ending. So if they counterspell this, it's actually very good for me. Alright, so let's attack. Gifts. You have another dispute? Oh, Fluster. Okay. A little bit brutal. A lot of one-mana interaction. I'm gonna hold the land, make them think that I might have something, rather than just letting them know that I don't have anything, and then they can play to the board. Hidden information can be very good. Okay. Draw. Another bear. Yeah. I'm gonna play out this. They're likely going to counterspell it, I think. But if it resolves, it's threatening lethal. Ooh. And by lethal, I mean like in 2 turns, not exactly next turn. And I'd be shocked if they left in a sweeper. To kill these, at least. Like, if they play Anger of the Gods, you have to tip your cap. Like, they left in a card that arguably shouldn't be in their deck, and they got rewarded. Like, that stuff happens. So if they play to that out, cheers. Gonna land. Okay. Get in there. You have a Shark Typhoon? Why did I say it out loud? Yep. Such an idiot. Why would I say that out loud? But if I had something here, we could theoretically punish them, but instead I have 2 lands in my hand. It's a bummer. You're gonna attack me with your shark? And if so, that probably means they have another Shark Typhoon. Jace, okay. Chooses not to use Jace's ability. So you may put that card on the bottom. That means that they left it on top. Alright, well, I'm going to let them know that I was sitting on a fetch land. I just have to pass here. They've probably got me at this point, if I'm being honest. We just drew too many lands. We actually didn't draw that many spells this game. Okay, so they did put that one on the bottom. Come on, deck, be good. They know that I have the island. Yeah, we're just so far gone if they're willing to Snapcaster Archmage's Charm. And Jace again. Jace left the card on top. Jace is now on 9 counters, okay. I just think that we're like so far. Like even if I drew Passing Flames and it eats 2 counter spells out of their 6 cards in hand, I don't know. No point in casting it right now. Like they have mana up. Sure. I can only hope that they try to get reckless and like swing with their land. I don't think that they're going to do that. Alright. Draw Silence maybe? Yeah, we're just dead. They left it on top. Alright. So let's see what our last draw is before I concede. Weird that they would leave that on top. I guess it doesn't matter. Like, it's the same as a random draw. Am I allowed to have a Desperate Ritual? Okay, no is the answer there. What about a Gifts and Given? No was also the answer. Okay. What about a Passing? This doesn't actually do anything, by the way. I can cast the Desperate Ritual, but that's it. Okay. Well, they had it all. They wrecked me. Welcome to playing Gift Storm. We're 1 and 2. Let's just see if we can get the last 2. It might not be that bad. Let's see if we can, get our money back. Stick around for match number 4. Match number 4, and we are on the play. It's a Hand of Magic. Let's keep it. Pretty low bar for a keep, right? Just a hand with magic cards in it. Well, if we're really going to break it down, a protection spell, 2 bears, and a gifts is just like, it's above average. What this hand needs is to find a ritual for turn 3, but other than that, it's pretty good. You don't actually know if the silence is needed in the matchup, and if it's not, you can burn it to potentially silence walk them once. Okay. Just gonna lead on Delta. Maybe they'll think that we're like Esper Reanimator or something when I fetch up the Hallowed Fountain. Stomping Ground. Reverse. Okay, so they're getting a basic land. Okay, let's go get the Hallowed Fountain. Okay, so now we click on Hallowed Fountain and go to our turn. About time, opponent. Excuse me. Another silence, okay. I'm gonna pass. I'm just gonna silence walk them. If that was the case, I probably should have fetched, but I changed my mind, so it is what it is. By silence walk, I mean casting the card silence in my opponent's upkeep so that way they cannot cast spells. It is essentially 1 white time walk. Okay. Now, once again, I am casting silence. You don't get to play spells, opponent. You have still been silenced. Yes, that is how that card works. Opt. I'm gonna bottom that. I'd rather honestly just have a 4th land to cast gifts. Card's Bolt. Interesting. Especially when I'm about to play Double Bear. I'm guessing, ooh, no removal spell on the end step. Bobble, okay. Okay. Should I know what our opponent's doing? Is it Red-Green Storm? It is, it's Red-Green Storm. Okay. Ouch. Alright, we're gonna try to do the thing where we get our opponent dead now. Whoa, no! That was supposed to be Gifts and Given. Ah, crap. Let's keep that. I think that ended up being okay. So I'm gonna get our rituals here, and then our last card can just be a land. It ended up being okay. But I'm a big dummy. Okay, so now we can cast Metamorphose and make some red mana. Now we cast Passing Flames floating a red mana. This needs to make blue mana. And now we cast Gifts and Given and not the card Consider. Okay. Yeah, Metamorphose. Let's get Wish. Gives us a little bit more versatility than something like a Grape Shot. We can still flashback the Past in Flames as well. Okay. Let's consider. Yes, I'd like to put that to the graveyard. Flashback Past in Flames. Add some blue mana. Another ritual. Cast Wish. Cast Opt, why not? Sure. And Grape Shot. Okay, so we've defeated Red Green Storm. Game number 1. I don't even know if we're supposed to board. I imagine that silence tends to be pretty good. Yeah, I'm just going to resubmit the same 75. I think our deck is probably in the proper configuration if I had to guess. Whoops, didn't mean to hit my mic. I'm sure that sounded lovely to all of you. A friendly reminder, if you're looking to get better at playing combo, join our Discord. It's free. Open up the description down below. You'll see 7 social media channels. The Discord is one of them. It's a terrific combo community where there's tons of people helping each other, getting better at playing the archetypes. I would definitely recommend joining. But if you're a member of our YouTube channel, you also get access to the secret member section of the Discord. So definitely check that out. But our Discord is free for everyone other than the hidden section. But tons of great combo conversation happening in there. Be a part of it. Okay. Seems fine. Might be a little bit slow for the matchup, but we'll see. Stomping Ground. Hierarch, okay. There's a Goblin that helps us be a little bit quicker. I think I'm just going to get Island and cast Visions here. Don't need another Past in Flame. Honestly, I don't think we need another Goblin either. We just need mana at this point. While Goblin is nice to have in case they do have the removal spell, we just can't afford to take that long. Because what happens if they put a 7 mana Hydra Dragon thing into play this turn? Or 12 mana Hydra thing. It's a 7/7. Words, things, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Deathgorge Scavenger. I haven't seen that card in a while. Yeah, you got it. Dinos for life. Okay, I'm just gonna jam the Goblin here. Hope that it lives. Now they can eat our land. I am not blocking. Ormod's Crypt. That wasn't very nice. Okay, let's get in there. Not sure how I'm going to deal with that yet. But I do know that I will be silencing them on their turn. I think how I beat that is likely allowing it to happen in response to Past in Flames, but I need them to bite the bait on something that they shouldn't. So I'm about to go to 6 life. I'm sorry, 5 life. Now we cast a pair of Considers. Yes, that can go to the graveyard. Wish gives us empty. Yes, that can go to the graveyard. Would have liked mana there, like a ritual. Let's try this Visions. Manamorphose. Ritual. Technically, I can Grape Shot their board. I just don't really want to take that line. Alright, let's Vision, see if I can hit a Ritual. Never! Okay, so now I'm forced to Grape Shot. 1, 2, 3, and then the rest of them. Then we get in there. Who's the aggro deck now? Okay. Get in there. We're gonna Silence Walk them again. Silence. I think right now my plan might be to cast this Past in Flames, so then that was a bad draw. So if I cast Past in Flames, I guess it's technically something. They'll crit me in response. I can play Brawl into Grape Shot for 3. They'll be at 2 life. And it stops them from like playing a Shock Land untapped. So by playing the Brawl, I also get an untapped blocker. Boom. Mini Grape Shots. I am the aggro deck. Remember that. Blue-red Wizard aggro. That's what I'm best known for. Another at 2. Veil of Summer, okay. So if they fetch, they're going to 1. I have enough mana right now where I can flashback Passing Flames for Grape Shot. Their avatar does make a lot of sense with the card that their deck is based around. I do enjoy that. And there's the creature. I just have to block. Right? Like I take 4 and then they're dead? Sure. Although part of me wonders if I should be sending a message right here. Like, do I Grape Shot the creature and then attack them for lethal? Do you have an endurance? Did you forget about Passing Flames in our graveyard? What's taking so long? You either have it or you don't. Our opponent said good games and that silence is an unfair card. It's fine. We're 2-2. Let's just see if we can get this last one. I'd be happy with a 3-2 with Gift Storm. Stick around. Let's see if we can make it happen. I might need your help. Welcome to the 5th match, our final match of this league playing Gift Storm, and we've opened up a very classic Gift Storm hand here, so we are going to keep this. Okay, let's just F6 and see what our opponent's up to. Windswept Heath. Arguably the worst fetch land. Looks pretty similar to the deck we faced in round number 1, but no Yorion. Okay, I like the Consider pickup. The Hate Bears? Oh, it's Enchantress. Okay. Kind of spicy, I like it. Consider. No, I would obviously like the Manamorphose. You dummy. Do we just open up a turn 2? Yeah. Okay, so let's think through this. Ritual, Manamorphose, Baral floating 1. Yeah, I think we have a turn 2 here. Or my short 1 mana. 5. No, this is a turn 2. Oh my. I just need to not mess this up. Wow. I can't remember. It's been years since I've had a turn 2 Gift Storm one. Gift Storm clearly too broken. Wow. They conceded! Turn 2 win in Modern! That's so awesome! Alright. That made this league worth it to me personally. That was really sweet. Alright, let's move to the board. Turn 2. Love it. Okay, well, we probably want these endings. Like, Going Truth seems pretty good. Imagine we want relays. We can board out a Gifts. Maybe even 2, because they're probably boarding in Leyline of Sanctity, which shuts that down. Probably board out these silences. We're not going to end up needing those. And that looks good to me. Let's submit this. Turn 2 win. So sweet. Deep. When I'm mulliganing to 5. Okay. Maybe I was supposed to board in the wear chair. I don't know. Who knows what they're doing anymore. And just land go. Well, that was a really good draw. Let's see if we can find land number 2. We did, and land number 3. So we have a turn 3 right now. Actually, is this a turn 2 again? No, I need another Manamorphose. Okay, Utopia Sprawl, you got it. And a Rip, sure. Let's just play our best wizard friend. We have a fetch land on top. This Summoning Ground's making me a little bit worried about Blood Moon. Okay, no Blood Moon. They have 1 card in hand. Let's opt. I don't think a second gifts does anything I want here. So I can get Ending, Echoing Truth, and Wish. Yeah, actually, this might be okay. Okay. Glad blue white. Target them. So Ending, Echoing Truth, Wish, and Morphos. Technically, there is a pile here that stops me. If they gave me Echoing Truth and not Manamorpho, so Echoing Truth and Ending, I actually would have to pass the turn. Well, that's not true either. So let's hit this. So I'd have one floating. They have one card in hand. Now we just do like a standard gifts pile. Morphos. Ritual. Okay, and then we just come back next turn. Unless they give us double ritual, which they should not do. Okay, I'm going to burn this so that way I can play the Electromancer. Just saves mana. Ugh. 2 cards in the opponent's hand. Another presence. 1 card now. Not a rest in peace. And it should be smooth sailing from here. Ritual. Ritual. Riffles for blue. Gifts and given. Okay. So they have 1 card. I don't think there's anything they could have here. I'm just like trying to think about what I could possibly lose to. Might as well get the Morphos. Then Wish. I like getting Wish because you don't lose to like a random surgical on Grave. I don't know. I guess you don't lose to that anymore. It probably just doesn't matter. Okay. And our opponent conceded, so we got the 3-2. Alright, I'm going to export this really quick. And then I will show you the changes that I would make. Okay, so we didn't get to use the Pact of Negation, but it did come up once as a like theoretical, hey, you could do this. So I would probably add Dismember into the board. We didn't face any Hammer Time, but Dismember is really good there. So I'd probably cut this Bolt and the Abrade. I think you probably want to leave the Echoing Truth. It does give you a little bit of versatility. It answers ley lines, which the endings don't really do. And it also, and the Flame Slash answers, what is it called? Eidolon. But maybe this should honestly just be like a 3rd Dismember. And the Wear Terror is a theoretical double out, so I think you keep that for Wish, but I think this card might end up being too cute. So I would look at a more linear sideboard like this if I were to play this deck again, where you just have less options because all of your options are just significantly better. That said, I think Dismember is really good in the Hammer Time matchup, and I'd probably want it there. It's also good against Infect. It just plays well with having all this stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I was a little bit too hard on Gift Storm. It's just, I think that deck has some flaws, but maybe Silence has fixed them along with Prismatic Ending. It certainly helped the Epic Storm in Legacy. Let me know what you thought of this video. Hopefully you at least found some of it fun. Thank you for watching. Keep storming. Have a great day. You're beautiful. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.